Nation of Fitin10, welcome to day 4 of the challenge, and I have got Coach Martina with me here today. And we're going to go through some topics here which I think are super important for you in order to be successful in this challenge. So without further ado, let's get into it.
So I wanted to talk to you about your the planning of your workout schedule. I think that it would be not the greatest idea for you to jump in the classes as you go throughout the week when you have time or when you have the motivation to do so. I think it's important for you to know exactly which day you're going to come. For one, because the days alternate between upper body, lower body, and cardio. So if you do not pre-plan ahead of time, you might end up with 3 upper body versions of your workouts, right? So it's important that at least a week ahead, you be putting in your schedule, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up early enough to make the 7 a.m. class on Tuesday, Thursday, and 8 a.m. on Saturday. Or I cannot do 3 classes in the morning, I'll do 2 in the morning, 6 p.m. on Wednesday, I gotta be home. It's very important.
Yeah, and the other important aspect of this is that if you don't pre-plan, it's very likely that you will not get the 3 classes completed. Because you'll just think, well, I'm going to do it in the future, I'll do it in the future. So if you don't set it in your calendar as an appointment, a non-negotiable appointment, it's more likely that it will not happen. So
also, I wanted to mention that one of the really kind of cool things in these classes that I provide is I provide feedback, right? So I provide feedback not just on form, but on the particular exercise. I can adapt some of the exercises to your particular injuries. So it's important for me to be able to see you most of the time, if not all the time. So maybe before the class starts, you may want to set your camera in such a way that I can always keep an eye on you.
yeah, this is super important. Coach Martina has to see what you're doing. Just like if we had a physical class, like in a physical setting, we would want to be able to see exactly what your form is like. The same thing applies if we were doing it virtually. So we've got to see what's going on so we can correct you and make sure that you're safe and doing the exercise in an effective manner.
And just like you're supposed to pre-plan your exercise, you should be pre-planning your food.
Yes, you got to pre-plan your food. So this is a make or break item in the challenge. Pre-planning your food is going to be, as I mentioned in your manual, you may have seen me, you may have read that you can do all the exercise in the world and conceivably not lose any weight. You can do no exercise. So on the flip side, you can do no exercise and then be very stringent with your food intake and of course lose body weight or body fat. So this is a vital aspect of the challenge. So you have got to pre-plan your food. And one of the best ways I think to do this is to take the macros that I've given you, the allotted macros, and as mentioned in the tutorial video, divide these macros up by the amount of meals you're going to eat in a day. So if you're going to eat 3 meals in the day, and let's just say you get 100 grams of protein, you're going to work on getting roughly 33 grams of protein per meal. Okay, this is really, really important, or else you're going to reach the end of the day and you're going to be way off in your macros. Okay, also, I want you to be thinking about the foods that you're going to eat. We need to eat for purpose. We need to eat for purpose. So think about eating for a certain outcome, right? We're working towards a certain objective and not just for the sake of, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat something.
And you have some, I'm thinking that you should also go into your MyFitnessPal and maybe go retroactively input some of the days that you're going to be eating, right? Because those of you with no premium are not able to look into the future. So what I do usually is for my Monday food, which is today or tomorrow, I will go backward and I'll be like, okay, on the previous Monday, I'm going to eat this. I'm going to eat this on Tuesday, Wednesday. I try to do 3 to 6 days ahead because I can do my prep for 3 whole days, and then your food will be, if prepared in the right condition, good for 5 days in your fridge. So I like to have 5 days straight, 3 days straight, and I pre-write that in MyFitnessPal and then I apply.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. Having this set out for you, it actually relieves stress because you know exactly what you have to do, right? Having that path paid for yourself in advance, is going to allow you to be more successful just because you know exactly what you're going to do.
You wanted to talk about protein.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we sort of already touched upon it in terms of just trying to meet those macros each day by, again, as mentioned, dividing however many meals you're going to have into your macros. So, but one thing with the protein is, I really, really want you, especially if you're struggling with this, I want you to think about a protein strong food at every meal. So protein strong food. This doesn't mean a food that contains protein necessarily. Okay, obviously.
Practically all food have protein.
Well, sorry, I didn't say that right. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of foods that contain protein. We want a protein dense food. We want a food that by a large caloric majority is just protein. That is, calories are coming from protein. So make sure you look in your journal if you're not sure about what those foods are. Okay, and this is, again, is going to empower you going forward in your life with food.
And if you struggle with that, I like the idea of kind of slowly increasing the protein that you already have. So let's say that in a meal you have just like 1 or 2 eggs and egg whites. I'd like you to think about having more and more egg whites as time goes by. Or I like the idea of combining protein very much. So for example, having like chicken and eggs together, or chicken and fish, or beef and shrimp, or trying to think about ways to put together proteins in such a way that it doesn't look like you're having way too much of this or that.
More yogurt and protein powder.
Indeed.
Or cottage cheese and an isobar, for instance. Isobars we'll talk about what those are, but they're one of the very few bars on the market that I recommend.
And you also wanted us to come how close to our macros on a daily basis?
Yeah, ideally 10%. Okay, so for the first 5 weeks, I'm going to really push you to try to get to 10%. Now, for some of you, you might already be there. Well, there are some of you who are already there. There are people who are, this is not their first rodeo in terms of doing the challenge. But there are others of you who are obviously new to this challenge and are going to struggle maybe a bit more. So, but ideally, ultimately, I want you to get within that 10% mark. Okay, so if I allot you 100 grams of protein per day, you're getting somewhere between 90 and 110 grams of protein per day.
Have you been getting all the food journals?
No, I have not. So please make sure you send in your food journal. This is, even if you think it's like way off, or it's, it's not accurate, or, send me what you're doing. And of course, most importantly, be 100% honest. I'm not here to judge you. I just want to help you. So that doesn't mean I may not, get on your case a little bit, but send me your food journals, because like I mentioned earlier on, this is going to make or break your success in this challenge.
And how were the first food journals you've gotten so far? Anything we need to know?
Well, okay, so listen, as your manual states, if you're really, really struggling, we've got to go with the obvious. Now, obviously, I haven't seen any alcohol in anybody's journal, which is great. Thank you. But maybe that's why I haven't seen some people's journals, right? Because maybe they had alcohol. I don't know. So, but we got to get rid of the obvious. So the alcohol and the junk food, that's got to go. Okay, so that is, and I have had food journals with things like, pie listed. I've seen chocolate cake. I've seen pizza. I've seen, not the best restaurant dishes already. So, and I realize we're just in the start here, but every day counts, and we want to try to work on improving. So be very conscientious of the choices you're making.
All right, what about weighing our foods?
Weighing foods. Okay. We are going to talk about this in next day's video, because we are getting close to 10 minutes. We want to keep these videos under 10 minutes. So we will do that. Thank you, by the way. Very important topic we're going to talk about in the next video. But let's get to the message of the day. And today's message of the day is...
Failing to plan is planning to fail.
Failing to plan is planning to fail. Is that what you said?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's great. That's exactly what the message of the day is. So, and I don't think we really need to say much about that, right? So, we've got a very definitive time here. We've got some pretty intense goals. If 30% of your fat mass is not something that's small, we need a distinct and clear set plan to follow. It's the only way it's going to happen. Okay, it's really about keeping that accounting going on, that energy accounting. So food is the number one thing here. That's going to make the difference, though. Okay,
and exercise is the number 2 things that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, definitely exercise. I mean, everything makes a difference, of course. Yes.
I'm here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. We will talk to you at the end of the week. Okay, or I guess the beginning of next week. Okay, positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude, and we will talk to you soon.